Hi, welcome to the garden today. It is hot, it is dry. Not well, a few clouds in the skies, but it's actually got fairly low humidity today for our area. So this is the garden. Have not been messing with it due to the vertigo or whatever. This is finally kind of giving up. I was kind of waiting on that to happen. It has gotten really dry. You can see these peppers here need a drink of water pretty bad. Water these with a hose here. I've got the peppers over there. They're also dry. Some of them's a little bit way too dry. But that happens this time of year. We get a lot of rainfall. We're in a 55-inch rainfall belt, but still, first part of August it's going to get hot. So sometimes you have to be able to supply a little bit of water to keep things going. So what I did, now that is a really tall piece of crabgrass up there, which means I got good fertility. Because growing a lot of weeds isn't necessarily bad. It shows you got a lot of fertility in your soil. What's really bad is when you got bare soil and nothing's growing, because that means you can't get your vegetables to grow either. But if you got a weedy spot, it means you got some fertility. So I am bringing out some fertilizer. I'm going to be putting out some fertilizer for the corn. Corn requires a lot of fertilizer. That's just the nature of the beast. You got to grow a big, probably 10-foot tall corn stalk. Plus you got to grow a couple of ears of corn. Yeah, I'm kind of walking crooked. So it's going to take a lot of fertility for it, okay? And what I'm doing this for is for the corn over here. And so what I'm going to be doing, and the corn's looking nice. It's got nice broad leaves on it. It's green. It's doing good, but you can kind of look at it. You can tell it's kind of struggling a little bit for water. So got the sucker hose. What I'm going to do to make sure we still got enough fertilizer is take the fertilizer, and I'll take it and just spread it out this way. Not necessarily up against the corn. I have run the wheel hoe through here. And I've got fair fertility here. I did spray, except for that last row. I did spray some BT on it, or Spinosad, I think it's BT, because we was having some worm damage. Worm damage is worse this time of year. I'm also having some weeds in the row of it. It's hard to, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to heal this stuff up. And heal is H-I-L-L. It doesn't require a whole lot. I mean, I'm not putting tons of fertilizer on it, but I am putting some. And then what I'll do, okay, this is it. Take my gripping hoe from way back, and I take it and just move the dirt up against the corn stalks. At the same time, moving the fertilizer up against the corn stalks also. If I can get and this will do two things. It's going to help control the weeds. It's also going to put the fertilizer underground, because you don't want it if it stays on top and gets wet on top, you do run the danger of that corn, of the nitrogen going back up into the atmosphere. So this actually puts it underground. And I may put a, man, I really hit that hard. I think it's still hitting hard somewhere. Yep, there he is. There's the culprit. And that is a corn earworm, also a tomato worm. Huh. Thought I could see it better. Hopefully he's dead.
You got it.
I got it?
Yes.
Okay. And I'll continue to do that. Lay out the sucker hose, and I want to say super sucker. I almost feel good right now. And get the corn going, getting it going good. Let's go look at the, since we're here. We'll look at the peas that I did not get around to wheel hoeing. So we got lots of weeds. They're still growing. I will run the wheel hoe as soon as I get a chance. I'm hoping that we're going to be able to make this without having to water them. If we can get a rain, of course I think rain's at least a week away, but you never know. But it's gotten really dry over this last week. It doesn't take long. You know, last week we had moisture in the ground pretty good, and right now it's not near as much. This here we're going to mow down. I'll mow the whole thing down. I'm tired of it. Peas aren't produced like they need to. I say the whole thing. I do have some I do have a couple of squash here on the end. Just, I guess 3 of them. See how they do. I mean, squash vine borers already hit it, I think. Maybe. Didn't have this one though. Let's see what they do. I mean, I'm not sure if they're squash vine borer there or not. See what they do. These just haven't made. It was kind of weedy. There are more of a vining pea, and I have a rabbit in here somewhere, or had one. I got my dog just running around, see if I can't chase it out of here, and then we'll go back, because I've got either that wire there, the 2x4 wire, or I've got chicken wire around this whole thing. So, you know, things should not be able to get in here, but there's a few places that it's they put it up with zip ties, because I have my kids do it, so they use zip ties to the wire. But zip ties work really great till about a year or 2 later. So some places there it kind of flopped over, so the rabbit got in. Hopefully he's gotten back out. We're going to come over here and mow this. Again, got good fertility, and honestly, son, we can mow this whole spot. I mean, even the peas, they're not really making that much now anyway. So I think it's just better just to start over. Some of the big weeds, when we go back, I'll get something. I'll take those big weeds out, throw them over the fence. But anyway, try to get this thing back in shape. I did one time burn this. I sprayed it, killed everything on it, and I set the fire on there, and that can be fun. Because it was still day, and sure enough, the wind changed on it. It started going that way, and I wanted to go that way, and it didn't escape because there's really, I mean, even here, that grass there's pretty tall, green. It's not dried up yet. There ain't nothing gonna burn on my neighbor because he mows it about every 3 days. So I knew it wasn't going that way. The horse got grazed off that way. It can't go that way. There's not enough fuel. So it's not, you have to really be careful with fire. You set the fire in Texas, you're responsible. It don't matter if it's an accident or not. So if you burn somebody, you know, it's almost considered arson. But I did some prescribed burning when I was working with USDA, and learned to respect fire. But fire is really great. I mean, it really helps pastures. It's a natural ecological thing. It was one of the things that we did that environmentalists really liked. Because it was a natural ecosystem. Because you always had lightning, you had Indians that would let the fire get away from them, or sometimes they would set fires. They were really good land managers, and they would set fires and then burn off an area, and then wildlife would come back to that area because you had nice lush vegetation, and that's where they would do their hunting. So fire is a good thing, but man, when you start putting up fences and houses, you gotta be careful. And like I say, you're responsible not only for the fire, but also for any smoke damage. So what I suggest people burn, ain't no way. but it can be a valuable tool if you know how to do it and you take the precautions. The only thing is, if you're doing a pasture, you can do all the precautions in the world, and you get you get a rabbit gets his fur caught on fire, runs across the fire guard, and he set a fire off that you weren't expecting it. Make sure, like today, it would be a horrible day to burn. I know I'm going off on a tangent, but there's not a cloud in the sky. That means we got low humidity, and you'll be surprised what a burn in low humidity. I mean, in West Texas, they get down even the single digit during this time of year, single digit humidity, and man, just about anything will burn at single digit humidity. Stuff that you would not think would carry a fire will carry a fire. But, and that's where they get the wildfires, and you know, we actually had a couple of guys get killed, I believe. I think one guy got killed, and basically they jumped in the back of a pickup, from what I understood, rather than got inside. I think they got thrown out of the pickup. It was a bad deal. So be careful with fire. Fire is you know, it's a great tool. It is part of the ecosystem, but don't just think, hey, this here is grown up, let me just go burn it. Because even now, this grass over here is probably grown up enough I wouldn't do it. Plus, when I set that fire, I had a nice breeze blowing this way. I knew I didn't have enough. At least I know when I'm messing up, I didn't have enough. You want to know where your fire's going, so you want to have enough wind, greater than 6 miles an hour, blowing where you want the fire to go. Because if you have less than 6 miles an hour, it may blow this way for a while, and it'll blow this way for a while, and you don't know which way that wind blows. Your fire also causes its own wind, so just be really careful. Even if it's a small patch like this that you want to burn, you can get in trouble in a hurry. And like I said, this right here would not burn right now, I don't believe. But if I sprayed it with Roundup, it would carry a fire. Johnson grass doesn't carry fire for some reason. Very good. But this stuff here has got enough fine fuel in it, it would carry it, get a big blaze. But you just got to make sure, look what you have to look at. You know, if I'm trying to burn this, well, that's enough, it can carry fire, it can go that away. Now, it's going to stop where my horse is grazing down, because it's just have enough to carry it. But if it gets to those woods, man, you're in bad shape. But anyway, enough about fire. Didn't mean to even talk about that. Anyway, I'll be back. I'll kind of show y'all how this all progresses, how it goes. Thanks for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.